message that shook the stars. The galaxy had known peace for 200 years. At least, that was what the Galactic Council liked to believe. But peace was a fragile dream. And dreams end fast. The first message came from a border world called HFY. It was a small colony, far from the core systems, home to miners, traders, and families from 6 different species. At 0400 galactic time, every signal from HFY stopped. No distress call, no explanation, only silence. Then 6 hours later, a single transmission arrived. Static filled the council's chamber as the hollow screen flickered. The image was broken, burned, and filled with smoke. An alien soldier, armor cracked and eyes wide with fear, tried to speak. His voice was weak. They came out of nowhere. Ships without light. They spoke only once. The image shook violently. In the background, explosions ripped through the sky. They said, "They don't negotiate with killers." Then the feed went black. The council chamber fell silent. Hundreds of representatives, insectoid, reptilian, synthetic, and more, stared at the screen. Finally, the speaker of the council, a tall being with glass-like skin, spoke softly. "Identify the attackers." The analysts worked for hours. The debris scans came back strange, weapons unlike anything known. No plasma burns, no ion residue. The damage was clean, surgical. Entire fleets erased in seconds, as if by invisible fire. One report showed a clearer image, a dark, triangular ship with faint blue light cutting across its hull. Its design didn't match any known empire. The computer translated the symbol marked on its side. 5 simple letters. HUMAN. "Impossible," muttered Admiral Koresh, his tail flicking in disbelief. "Humans have been isolated for centuries. They don't leave their system. They don't even attend council meetings." The speaker frowned. Perhaps they have changed. The chamber filled with whispers, fear, denial, confusion. A young envoy spoke up. "Maybe someone is using their name. Pirates, perhaps." But the next transmission ended that hope. A second colony. Veltrin 9 vanished the next day. This time, satellites captured the entire event. The feed showed dozens of alien warships surrounding a human refugee fleet, unarmed, trying to escape a pirate blockade. The aliens opened fire. But before the destruction was complete, space itself shimmered from the black void. A dozen human warships appeared, sleek, silent, and burning with blue engines. They moved faster than light could bend. In 30 seconds, the pirate fleet was gone, turned to dust. The human ships did not respond to any hail. They collected the refugees, then transmitted one message to every listening station nearby. "We don't negotiate with killers." Then they vanished into the dark. Now the entire galaxy was watching. The council ordered an emergency meeting. Thousands of channels buzzed with speculation. Was it a new human empire? Rogue Machine's revenge? Ambassador Terrell of the Avenari Alliance slammed his fist on the table. "This is a declaration of war. The humans are attacking without warning." Admiral Koresh shook his head. "No, look closer. They only target those who attacked civilians." The room grew tense. The speaker leaned forward. "Then what does that mean?" Koresh's voice was low. "It means they are not invading, they are judging." Outside, far from the council's shining worlds, fleets began to move. Merchants cancelled routes. Colonies went dark. Even pirate lords, once fearless, began to flee toward the galactic rim. Everywhere, the same message repeated across frequencies, sometimes as a whisper, sometimes as a warning. Humans are awake. Back on HFY 5, rescue ships finally arrived. They expected bodies, but found nothing. No cities, no debris, no remains. Only glass plains stretching to the horizon, smooth and cold. At the center stood a single object, a black monolith made of unknown alloy. When the scientists approached, it activated. A deep, human voice echoed through the comms, calm and clear. "You called us killers once. Now you will remember what that truly means." Then the monolith shattered into dust. The council was in panic. Armies were mobilized, fleets armed, alliances forged overnight. But fear spread faster than their ships. Old stories returned, tales of the ancient human wars, of soldiers who fought until their planets burned, of commanders who turned stars into weapons. The younger species called it myth. The older ones knew better. They remembered the last time humans fought, and how even victory had cost the galaxy dearly. As the meeting ended, Admiral Koresh stared at the hollow map of the border systems. Dozens of red lights blinked where colonies had vanished. He whispered quietly to himself, "The humans warned us centuries ago. We only fight when you leave us no choice." He turned to the speaker. "This is not an invasion, it's a reminder." The speaker's glass skin glowed faintly with fear. "A reminder of what?" Koresh looked into the stars, voice cold as space. "Of why we should have never made them angry." In the dark beyond known space, human ships drifted silently. No flags, no transmissions, just shadows waiting for their next target. Inside the lead vessel, a calm female voice broke the silence. "Commander, next target confirmed. The ones responsible for the raids on Vega Prime." A pause. "Proceed." The commander looked out into the endless night, his face hard as stone. "Yes," he said. "They wanted monsters. Let's remind them what monsters look like." Shadows of Earth, the Galactic Council called it the human question. Whispers filled every system. Soldiers, traders, and even children spoke of the same thing. Humans had returned. But from where? And why now? No one had answers. Only fear. Admiral Koresh stood in the great observatory of the Council spire. Before him, thousands of star systems shimmered in holographic blue. 15 were now marked red, destroyed or silent, each one connected by the same mystery. Each one marked with one simple word, justice. Koresh's tail flicked in anger. "We cannot fight shadows," he growled. "We need to find them." Beside him, Envoy Lyra Tane, a young diplomat, adjusted her cloak nervously. "If the stories are true, Admiral, the humans might not want war. They strike only those who kill civilians." Koresh turned sharply. "That makes them no less dangerous. A blade that cuts for justice can still bleed the innocent." He looked at the map again, his voice low. "And I fear we will all bleed soon." The Council approved a mission, Operation Silent Reach. A small investigative fleet would travel to the last known battle site, Veltrin 9, where the Ghost Fleet had last appeared. 3 ships, 500 souls. One mission: find proof of what the humans had become. The fleet dropped out of hyperspace near Veltrin 9. The planet was dead. Its once bright oceans were now metallic gray, its skies filled with silent lightning. Commander Lyra watched from the bridge window. "No sign of life, not even radiation," she whispered. The scanners began to hum. Strange readings filled the displays, particles unknown to any galactic science. "It looked like dust made of light," Koresh frowned. "That's not natural." "Keep scanning." One of the sensor officers turned pale. "Admiral, something is here." A shape appeared in the distance, a dark outline. Floating silently above the planet, a ship, massive, angular, completely black, with only faint blue energy lines pulsing like veins across its hull. "By the stars," Lyra whispered. "It's human." They hailed it. No response. They tried again, broadcasting every known frequency. Finally a reply came, a single word: "Leave." The voice was human, calm and deep, carrying through every speaker on all ships. Koresh stepped forward. "This is Admiral Koresh of the Galactic Council. We come in peace. We seek only answers." Silence. Then the voice returned. "Answers come with cost." Before anyone could respond, the black ship vanished, not through hyperspace, but as if it dissolved into space itself. The scanners showed nothing. The air on every bridge grew colder. Lyra turned to Koresh. "Admiral, what was that?" Koresh didn't answer. His eyes stayed locked on the empty void where the ship had been. "That," he said quietly, "was a warning." They landed on the surface to investigate further. The ground was smooth like glass. No bodies, no ruins, only the wind. As they moved deeper, one of the soldiers found something half buried in the ash, a small metallic box, glowing faintly blue. Lyra knelt beside it. "It's human technology," she said softly. The Admiral frowned. "Can you open it?" Before she could answer, the box projected a hologram, a human soldier standing tall in black armor. His eyes were hidden behind a reflective visor. "To the Council," the recording began. "You ignored our cries for help when our colonies burned. You watched as pirates slaughtered our children. You called it politics." His voice grew harder. "Now you see the cost of your silence." The hologram flickered, then ended with the same message seen before. "Humans don't negotiate with killers." The box turned to dust. Lyra looked up, her voice shaking. "Admiral, maybe they're not monsters. Maybe they're—" A loud alarm cut her off. One of the orbiting ships was gone, vanished from scanners. Koresh shouted into his comms. "Command, report!" Static, then a new voice, calm, human, and close. "We warned you to leave." The sky above them shimmered. Dozens of black ships appeared silently, surrounding the planet like predators in the dark. They didn't fire. They didn't move. They just watched. Every crew member felt the same thing, the weight of being judged. Koresh ordered the fleet to retreat. But before hyperspace could engage, every system shut down at once. A hologram appeared on each bridge, the same armored human from before. "We are not here for war," he said. "We are here for balance. You call us dangerous. Perhaps we are. But we learned from you." He paused. The silence stretched like ice. "You made us what we are." Then, in a blink, the ships vanished again. Engines roared back online. The fleet escaped. But not before every sensor caught the same thing. A transmission hidden in the static. It wasn't a threat. It was a location, coordinates. Lyra stared at them. "That's Sol system." Koresh's eyes widened. "Earth?" She nodded slowly. "They're calling us to them." As the fleet sped away, the stars seemed colder. The Council wanted to study humanity. Now humanity had invited them in. Koresh looked out the viewport, his scales dim in the blue light. "We came looking for shadows," he whispered. "But I think we just found the storm." The Ghost War, the Council fleet moved through deep space, silent and tense. Every ship, every crew member felt the same fear. They were heading toward Earth, the one place the galaxy had promised never to approach again. The coordinates the humans had sent were not hidden. They were an invitation, or maybe a trap. Admiral Koresh stood on the bridge of the flagship Solaris, his golden eyes scanning the dark screen ahead. "Report," he said quietly. "Approaching Sol system," the navigator replied. "No resistance detected yet." Envoy Lyra Tane stood beside him, her hands trembling slightly. She had studied human history for years, their wars, their rise, their sudden disappearance from galactic politics. "They were part of us once," she whispered. "Trade partners, colonists, then they vanished," Koresh grunted. "Vanished?" "No, they were watching, waiting." The fleet entered the edge of the system. Sensors picked up old battlefields, thousands of broken ships drifting like bones in the dark. Some bore alien markings. Others were human. "These wrecks are hundreds of years old," said the science officer. "But some look recent." Lyra stepped closer to the screen. "Look there. That emblem. It's the symbol of the Keth Dominion." Koresh's jaw tightened. The Keth were known for genocide. Entire planets erased in the name of empire. If they came for Earth once, it would explain everything. But what happened next was something no one could explain. Suddenly, the ship's sensors went blind. All readings flatlined. Every light dimmed. "EMP?" shouted the engineer. "No, sir. Something else. Something controlling the systems." Koresh roared, "Shut everything down! Manual control!" But it was too late. Through the static of the main display, a dark shape began to form, massive, angular, and silent. Another human ship, then another, and another. Within seconds, hundreds of dark vessels surrounded the fleet, forming a wall of black steel and blue light. The humans had arrived. A voice came through the speakers, cold, calm, but strangely human. "This is the fleet of the Terran Defense Accord. Identify yourselves." Koresh straightened. "This is Admiral Koresh of the Galactic Council. We come to speak. We seek understanding." There was silence. Then the voice replied, Understanding? You seek what you once ignored. Lyra stepped forward. Please, we want peace. The galaxy fears you. Help us understand why you fight. The human voice paused, then softened slightly. You call this war? No, this is containment. The word sent a chill through the bridge. Containment of what? Koresh asked. Of monsters, the voice replied. The ones you let live when they burned our worlds. Without warning, a massive hologram flickered across space, images of cities burning, alien fleets attacking human colonies, civilians screaming. Then came the response. Human ships fighting back with terrifying precision, using weapons the Council had never seen before. Lyra watched in horror. They wiped them out. Entire armadas. Koresh spoke quietly. They did what we never could. The hologram ended. You call us killers, the voice said. But you made us this way. You taught us that mercy dies in the void. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Lyra whispered, If you wanted to destroy us, you already could have. Why talk to us at all? The voice replied, Because there are worse things coming. Things even we fear. The human ships shifted formation, revealing a hole in their ranks, a dark region of space glowing faintly red. Koresh frowned. What is that? The human commander answered, The rift, a scar left by Keith weapons. It opens into places that should not exist. Lyra's eyes widened. You mean another dimension? Something like that, the human said. They opened it to win a war, and unleashed something that can't die. Koresh's blood ran cold. You're saying there's something worse than you out there? The human's voice turned grave. We fought it once, barely survived. Now it stirs again. That's why we returned, not for revenge, but to finish what you refused to face. Suddenly alarms blared across the fleet. Admiral, incoming! Shouted a technician. Dozens of unknown signals appeared, huge, distorted shapes tearing through the rift. They weren't ships. They were alive, massive creatures made of energy and bone, screaming through space as they devoured light itself. The human fleet opened fire, blue beams slicing through the void, explosions lighting the darkness like stars being born and dying at once. Koresh shouted, Protect the fleet! Return fire! But their weapons barely scratched the creatures. One of the alien ships was split in half by a single strike. Another vanished in a flash of white light. Lyra stared in horror. What are they? The human commander answered, The reason we became monsters. The human fleet moved like ghosts, coordinated and fearless. Every shot hit perfectly. Every move was planned. Within minutes the creatures were driven back, not destroyed, but pushed into the rift again. Then with a flash the humans sealed it. The void went silent. Koresh stood on the bridge, unable to speak. So much power, so much control, and yet they were not the villains the Council had imagined. The human voice returned one last time. Now you see, we don't fight for conquest. We fight because no one else will. You can warn the galaxy, he added. But remember our words. Humans don't negotiate with killers. We hunt them. And with that, the human fleet vanished into the dark once more. Lyra looked out into the stars, her voice trembling. Admiral, what now? Koresh sighed. Now, we tell the Council that humanity has returned. He paused, eyes fixed on the void where the humans had disappeared. And this time, they're not the danger, they're the defense. The day the galaxy chose sides, the Council chamber of Auralis Prime was silent. Thousands of delegates from across the stars sat in a half-circle, their faces glowing under the pale light of the twin suns above. A massive screen floated in the center, showing the same image again and again, human ships, black as night, fighting monsters from beyond the rift. The same words repeated in every language of the galaxy. Humans don't negotiate with killers. Council leader Varen stood at the center platform, his voice echoing. You all saw what they did, he said. They destroyed the rift creatures. They saved our fleets. But do not forget, those same humans once vanished into darkness after killing thousands. A murmur spread through the chamber. Some agreed, others whispered in fear or awe. Ambassador Lyra Tain, the only survivor who had spoken to the humans, stood at the lower stage. Her eyes were tired, but her voice was steady. You misunderstand them, she said. They didn't attack us. They stopped something worse. They warned us. Varen turned sharply. Warned us? About what? About themselves. No, Lyra said quietly. About what's coming next. At that, the lights dimmed and the hologram changed, showing data from the Rift battle. Energy spikes, gravitational distortions, unknown signals. All pointed to one terrifying conclusion. The Rift isn't closed, Lyra continued. The humans sealed one part of it, but there are others. More portals across the galaxy. The monsters are spreading. Panic filled the chamber. Delegates shouted over one another, fear rising like a wave. They will come here. The humans will blame us. We should prepare weapons. Varen slammed his staff against the floor. Enough. He glared at Lyra. You want us to trust them? After what they've done. She met his eyes. You should trust what they've become. Hours later, the council went into private session. Outside, ships were already mobilizing. Some races sent fleets toward human space, believing a preemptive strike was safer. Others called for alliance. The galaxy was dividing. In a quiet corner of the chamber, Admiral Koresh watched the stars through the glass dome. He had seen the humans fight. He knew their power. Lyra approached him. They won't listen, she said softly. Koresh nodded. Fear never listens. He turned to her. Tell me honestly, Lyra, do you believe they'll come back? Yes, she replied, but not for revenge, for the war that's still coming. Koresh looked out again at the stars. Then maybe, they're our only chance. Suddenly, alarms echoed across Oralis Prime. The skies above the capital turned red as defense systems activated. A young officer rushed in. Council leader. We're detecting massive energy readings from the outer ring. Varen frowned. Human ships? No, sir, the officer said, his voice shaking. Something else. The main screen filled with static, then with horror. A giant tear appeared in space just beyond the planet's orbit. From within, shadow-like creatures began pouring out, hundreds of them, their shapes twisting and burning like black fire. Lyra whispered, "The rift. It's spreading." The council ordered all fleets to engage, but the enemy moved faster than light. Within minutes, the outer defense stations were gone. Koresh ran to the command platform. "We need reinforcements. Call every system." "No one will arrive in time," Lyra said. "There's only one chance." Varen glared. "Don't say it. Call the humans," Lyra said firmly. "They can stop this. They'll destroy everything. They'll save what's left," she shouted back. Before the council could vote, a blinding flash lit the sky. Dozens of human ships emerged from hyperspace, silent, dark, perfectly synchronized. The same voice that once spoke to Lyra echoed through every frequency. "This is the Terran Defense Accord. Stand down. We have control." Human fleets formed a barrier between the Rift and Oralis Prime. They launched weapons unlike anything the galaxy had seen, beams of blue light that sliced through the creatures as if the void itself had turned to fire. Every move was precise. No stray shots, no panic, just cold, perfect execution. The galaxy watched in silence as the battle unfolded. Within minutes, the sky was clear again. The rift collapsed. For now, as smoke drifted above the planet, the humans sent one final message. "We warned you," the voice said. "This galaxy breeds killers, and killers understand only one language, power." Varen stood, trembling. "Who are you to speak for us?" he demanded. The human reply was calm but cold. "We are humanity, the ones you left to die, the ones who learned that mercy is not weakness." The humans left without another word. Only silence remained, heavy and endless. Lyra turned to the council. "You see now? They didn't come to rule us. They came to stop what we refused to face." Varen said nothing. The chamber was silent as the stars outside flickered faintly, a reminder of what had just been saved and what could still be lost. Later that night, Koresh stood on the balcony overlooking the capital. He could still see the faint glow where the human ships had vanished. Lyra joined him quietly. "The council is in chaos," she said. "Half want an alliance, half want to prepare for war," Koresh nodded slowly. "Then the galaxy has already chosen sides." She looked at him. "And you? Which side are you on?" He looked up at the stars, at the dark space where Earth lay hidden. The side that survives. The fire that ends silence. The galaxy was no longer united. After the Battle of Auralis Prime, fear spread like wildfire through the stars. Some worlds praised the humans as saviors. Others called them demons. But everyone agreed on one truth. Humanity had changed forever. In the darkness beyond known space, the Terran Defense Accord gathered once again. Thousands of ships, black and silver, floated in perfect formation. At their center stood the Ark of Sol, Earth's command ship, vast as a city, glowing with quiet blue light. Inside, Commander Elias Ward watched the stars in silence. His face was calm, but his eyes carried centuries of pain. "Status report," he said softly. "Rift activity increasing in 3 sectors," replied the AI voice beside him. "The entities are adapting. Their attacks are coordinated now." Ward nodded. "And the Council?" "Still debating. Still afraid," he sighed. "Then they'll learn the hard way." Back on Auralis Prime, chaos filled the Council chambers. Arguments, accusations, and fear echoed in every corner. Ambassador Lyra Tane stood before them again, her voice shaking with anger. "While you talk, entire systems are falling," she shouted. "The humans are already fighting for us. What are we doing?" Leader Varen slammed his staff down. "They fight for themselves. They hide their motives. How do we know they won't turn on us next?" Lyra stepped closer, her voice low but firm. "Because if they wanted us dead, Admiral, none of us would be standing here." The chamber fell silent. "They aren't the monsters," she said quietly. "They became what we were too afraid to be." Far from the Council, a new rift opened near the Dara cluster, larger than any before. From it poured thousands of dark shapes, consuming entire planets within hours. The sky burned. The stars dimmed. Koresh, now commanding the 9th Fleet, watched helplessly. His ships fired everything they had, but the creatures devoured energy like air. "This is useless," cried one officer. Koresh clenched his fists. "Send a distress signal to the humans." "They might not answer." "They will," Koresh said. "They always do." Minutes later, the void tore open, and humanity answered. A massive Terran fleet emerged, led by the Ark of Sol, its weapons charged with a light so bright that even the rift seemed to tremble. Ward's voice echoed through every channel in the system. "This is Commander Ward of the Terran Defense Accord. All allied ships fall behind our line. We will end this." Koresh watched in awe as human ships moved like a single mind, precision and fury combined. Every beam struck perfectly, cutting through the creatures as if space itself obeyed human command. The rift howled, the monster screamed, but this time humanity did not retreat. Inside the Ark, Ward gave the final order. "Activate Project Dawnfire." The AI hesitated. "Commander, that weapon could destroy half the sector. If we don't use it, there won't be a sector." He closed his eyes. "Do it." Across the fleet, a pulse of golden light built up, slow at first, then blinding. Every ship linked together, combining energy into one colossal wave. It spread across space like sunrise breaking through eternal night. The creatures froze. Their forms burned. The rift itself cracked and began to collapse. Koresh watched in silence as light consumed everything, the monsters, the dark, even the fear. When it was over, only silence remained. And where the rift once stood, there was now a single glowing star. Back on Auralis Prime, the Council watched the live feed in disbelief. The humans had done the impossible. Again. Varen stood, trembling. They destroyed the rift, but how?" Lyra whispered. "By becoming what they needed to be." Moments later, a transmission from Earth filled the Council chamber. Commander Ward appeared on screen, his face lit by the glow of the new star. "It's done," he said. "The rift is gone." Varen leaned forward. "And what now, Commander? Will you demand control of the galaxy?" Ward shook his head. "Control? No, we never wanted to rule. We wanted peace. But peace doesn't come from words, it comes from strength." He looked directly into the camera. "We asked for help once. You gave us silence. So we learned to speak with fire." The room went quiet. Ward's voice softened. You fear us. I understand that. But remember this. Humanity became monsters only because the galaxy needed one. The screen went dark. Days later, the humans vanished again. Their fleets disappeared beyond the outer rim, leaving behind systems free from the rift, and a galaxy forever changed. Koresh and Lyra stood on a balcony watching the new star burning in the sky. They saved us, Lyra said softly. And they left us a warning, Koresh replied. She looked at him. Which is? He turned toward the horizon, his voice low. That if the galaxy ever becomes the killer again, humanity will return. In the silence of space, the last human message drifted between stars. We don't negotiate with killers. We end them. And as the light of the new star spread across the void, the galaxy finally understood. It was not the monsters humans feared. It was the day they stopped pretending to be anything else. End.